Okay, hello everybody. This is John Carter here. Larry, are you with me? Hello.
Oh, there.
There he
Yes, I
is.
am. It said the host had muted me, but I guess not.
Well, I had not muted you. I would never mute you, Larry. So welcome everybody to Overcoming Current Challenges and Preparing for the Future with me and my good friend Larry Rickert. Say hello to the people, Larry.
Hello, all you people.
So on behalf of Larry, I would like to thank you all for taking a break out of your schedules of watching Tiger King. And Larry, I would ask you if you've watched Tiger King, but I know the answer to that is probably no. I would
I've
strongly.
chosen not to. I'm well aware of Tiger King, and I've seen the banter, and I've chosen not to.
All right, well, join the party. It is a train wreck and fun to be a part of. So I wanted to go ahead and get right into it because Larry and I have quite a bit to talk about. So first of all, who are John and Larry? Not only are we good friends, but I've known Larry for over 20 years. Larry is the owner of Jim Kreshak Jewelers in Wausau, Wisconsin. He is a finance major, which is germane to this discussion, which we'll talk about in a little bit. He is treasurer of the American Gem Society Board of Directors, and he is all around a smart guy. I dare say the smartest retailer that I know, and I am not just saying that because you're here, Larry. I am the owner of Jack Lewis Jewelers in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm a marketing major, and I'm currently the president of the American Gem Society Board of Directors. And so the topic of today is going to be to talk about what are we doing to survive in this COVID-19 crisis. Uh, I invited Larry to join me on this. I have a little bit of fluff to fill. I think that it's maybe not as serious or as meaty, Larry, as some of the things that you're going to discuss.
It's better than fluff, Carter. Come on.
But it's mine maybe is the more fun of the two things to talk about. It's a way to maybe spend your time and be productive in this downtime and make your marketing message a little bit better. And then, of course, Larry, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of your things that have to do with the new bills that have been passed. So what are we doing to survive right now? Uh, First, I want to start with the physical preparation of your physical location. And if you're ready for an extended shutdown, many of us on this call, me, Larry, you, our friends out east, most of them, have already been shut down by their state governments, meaning we are not allowed to operate in the manner that we're used to. Of course, I've been coming to work, but it's just me, and the doors are locked, and customers aren't allowed to come and go. And before we went into all of this, you sent a really helpful reminder to our group of jeweler friends of some things to watch out for and to do before you locked the front door of your store. And so what I've done is I've compiled those, as I've called them, Uncle Larry's guidelines for how to prepare your store for a shutdown. So, Uncle Larry, go.
Okay. Yeah, Carter's got some good fluff stuff. So it'll be kind of like eat dessert first when he gets to his
Oh,
nice portion. So that isn't all bad. But in all seriousness, in Wisconsin, we the week of St. Patrick's Day, I lose track of weeks, as most of you probably are. Um, it was still not that clear. We were not in shutdown yet, but we could tell just from our customer count and just it was going to happen sooner or later. So we actually closed a day and a half before the order went out to close. And so it made me think in advance because it's just kind of what I do. And as I was doing this for my store, I thought, holy crap, there's a bunch of other jewelers out there that are getting bombarded with information and didn't know what to do. So I came up with these nice guidelines. And those of you who are just facing shutdown now, put your highest value goods in safe deposit boxes. I say that only because if you don't have a walk-in vault, meaning a true vault, I think safes are somewhat vulnerable, and just for the peace of mind, even though it's highly unlikely someone could get into your safe, why not put your high valued goods in bank vaults if you have that option? We use Ziploc bags and then FedEx, Tyvek envelopes, and it is amazing how much value you can put in a small place if you don't have to display them. Plus, it'll help you on the way out when you put your store back together. Ensure all your customer goods are in the safe before larger bulky inventory of lower value. That kind of sounds obvious, but on the other hand, you know, if we're so focused on inventory and value, the last thing I think we all want to lose would be customer goods. So please make sure they are secured. Another thing that, you know, in this crisis, we don't always see clearly in the fog of war. This one really struck me as the most important. I reached out to not just the jewelry friends in my circles, but industry groups that I'm buying groups and other things, that just to get some of these points across. Make sure everything is off the floor so that nothing is visible. And I mean nothing. Yeah, don't, if you have Pandora, put it away. Don't laugh and say, I hope someone breaks in and steals my Pandora. No.
No, you don't.
We don't want that to happen. I did see on Jewelers Helping Jewelers a sad picture of a store that this exactly happened to. While they were shut down, some idiot broke in, wrecked all kinds of showcases to steal marginal value stuff that I have no idea what they're going to do with it anyway.
Yeah, in the midst of all this, you don't need the pain in the neck of having a broken.
And you don't know how the police are going to respond either.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, just stuff that maybe you thought of, but I thought maybe you didn't, because it struck me at different times of day and night, some of these things to do. So
no, when you sent this to me, I immediately pulled everything, you know, all the costume stuff that you have on your sales floor. That's
and don't put a sheet over your showcase to make it
that doesn't
look like it's empty, because even if it's empty and you put a sheet over it, it's like you're saying there's something here worth covering up. So
you should break this glass, bad guys.
Yeah. So please secure your goods.
All right. So
then that gets you to this phase. Wow.
Yeah, you're shut down. Now what? So for me, this is going on. I think I shut down maybe a day or two before you. So you're shut down. Now what do you do? Right? You got everything in the vault. First and foremost, and Larry, this is from some really good conversations that you and I had, so thanks again for more tips. And by the way, we probably incorrectly said we were going to lead with fluff. I think some of this stuff is
this is good stuff.
Yeah, this is good content because it really has been helpful. Communicate with your suppliers and your vendor partners. So not just people you buy merchandise from, but Larry, you encouraged me to reach out to my billboard companies and say, hey, traffic is down. How about 60 days of zero payables to you guys?
And the doors are closed.
Yeah, and the doors are closed. And guess what? They all did it. They were eager to help. They thought it was a good idea. I think I had one of them tack an extra 60 days on at the end of my contract. Oh, well, that's great. I thought that was a really good compromise. So like you taught me, money saved is money earned, particularly in this crisis. And if it can keep your people paid, it's really important.
And they all reacted as Carter contacted them. I think they were kind of waiting for it. They probably had a plan, but also hoping not, because if you don't contact them, then you pay your bills and life goes on for them.
Yeah, they weren't going to offer.
Yeah, they were not offering this. So you do have to ask for these types of things. So anything that's a static expense like this that you honestly just really don't need and can't afford, reach out.
And also any of your jewelry manufacturers that you have a significant amount of payables, reach out. Say, hey, you guys know what's going on, but here's what's happening, and I can send $500 or $1,000 a month, or we can return product, you know, whatever helps. But just keep the lines of communications open. And suppliers, reach out to us. I know that we have some fine AGS suppliers on this call today. We know you're scared too. This isn't just us being shut down. Reach out. We're friends. We're all friends. I mean,
reach out personally with a personal
exactly.
Message,
we've
not the corporate.
We've hung out with your families. In some cases, we've been invited to your family's events and weddings. You reach out to us, and by that I don't mean the corporate constant contact email that you sent to everybody in this time of the COVID-19 crisis. Dear valued partners. No, I mean a personal message from you. It goes a long way. It really, the people that have done that with me, I'll never forget it. This is where we get into some of the fluff, which is my specialty, of course. This is an opportunity to reinvent the marketing of your brand. And specifically today, I want to focus on Instagram. You know, I had the chance, Barbara Palumbo, who I'm not sure if she's on today or not, but I had a chance to listen to one of her seminars in Tucson back when we could all travel. Gosh, it seems like so long ago. And she and I have had this conversation over the years, but I really feel like our industry has not quite embraced Instagram for what it can be. We all still, so many of us still focus on the fallacy that it matters how many people are following you on Facebook. It does not matter. As most of you know by now, the algorithms on Facebook dictate that if you're not boosting your post, it doesn't matter. Nobody sees it. Instagram, it still matters. And so what I'm about to talk about is growing your following on Instagram, which anybody that has grown their following to a decent number on Instagram will tell you, you have to fight for each follower. I mean, it really is growing, and I'm up to close to 3,800, and it has taken me years of individual, very specific, very deliberate acts. And one of them that I want to talk about today is using Instagram to be very organic. It should be to show off your beautiful things. It shouldn't just be to use the static images that you get from manufacturers that have professionally photographed those for you. That's not really why Instagram fans go to Instagram. They are looking for real content. It's not that you shouldn't use content from your suppliers. Some of your relationships with those suppliers will dictate that, and they do wonderful jobs. But my point is that shouldn't be the lion's share of what you do on Instagram. The majority of what you are doing on Instagram should be organic and unique to you. Don't copy and paste what I do. Don't copy and paste what somebody another page does. Do your own thing and do it well. And so what I'm going to teach you today is how to take proper photographs. Because if I see one more blurry photograph on somebody's Instagram page out there of something like, hey, you should buy this ring, and here's a shot from 10 feet away that you can barely see and all the stones are fuzzy, I'm going to rip my hair out, because it's really quite simple. I'm a knucklehead, and I figured this out. And I am definitely not a professional photographer. So the first thing I want to do is I'm really only showing you just what I've done during the shutdown. I went into this shutdown phase with a very large percentage of content on my phone. Photographs that I took on my phone, ready to go, ready to release when we got out of this shutdown. And so the first thing is a beautiful Forever Mark oval that is properly photographed. It's set on a little piece of druzy. Larry, you've worked the Tucson show with me and seen how much of my time out there is spent buying these little rocks because they make interesting backdrops. Notice that the first thing that you'll see here is there's no real border in this piece of, like, you can't see a table or a mirror or a customer in the background. It literally is just a product shot of a beautiful oval. Notice that I photographed it just so there's no filter on this. I haven't done anything else. I've just photographed a beautiful diamond and shown flashes of light. We'll talk about how to properly light that in a couple minutes. Don't post it if it's not a good picture. That's my best advice for Instagram. And again, same thing here. Typically finished jewelry is going to get much more content, much more interaction, as you can see, than a loose gem. Loose gems I love because they're super easy to photograph comparatively, because then you're not worried about these washed out table flashes and things. You're never going to be able to get these totally perfect without doing it in a studio, but pretty darn good effort set in a piece of agate there. This is apropos to this group in particular, as we have a Jack Lewis Flame, which is our in-house brand of AGS 000 diamonds. Notice very clearly arrows through this stone, set again against the backdrop. I think this is the back side of one of the druzies that I bought, which I actually found more interesting than the front. But again, everything is in focus. It's interesting. People will remember this. I can, if somebody's looking at this 133 Jack Lewis Flame, I can send them this photograph, which looks like it was professionally done in a studio within reason. And again, this is not done with a fancy camera. It is, and talk about that in a second, but then it also works really well with color. This is an unheated tanzanite that just pops. It's choosing the right backdrop, in this case, the light, and it's playing with it a little bit and seeing what looks nice. But use this time to get better at this. You have all these beautiful diamonds and these beautiful colored stones in your store. Some are mounted. Some stores have a lot of loose color. Some stores don't. We tend to have a lot of it. And it's easy stuff to photograph, and it's visually appealing. I mean, it looks like candy. You know, people remember this. And so often, because we posted something, we may sell it, not necessarily always through the post, but it could be somebody message us, ask us about that stone. The staff may remember, hey, we have this beautiful thing because they saw it on Instagram. They saw such a great picture of it, and they tend to send this off to their clients and friends. So how much do you need to spend to accomplish these fantastic photos? Larry, am I an iPhone person? Larry's muted himself again. Larry, am I an iPhone person? Larry. Okay, Larry, you can interrupt me in a second. I am not an iPhone person.
I am muted.
Stop mute.
Now we're all muted. Now I'm unmuted. Okay. I think I'm back. I know there was an echo. We had someone say there was an echo, so we're trying to be like that. But no, Carter, you're not an iPhone person. Neither am I. We're both Android people.
Love the camera on that iPhone 10. I do love the camera on that iPhone 10, but the Androids do have pretty fantastic cameras as well. But that's not the key. It doesn't matter what type of phone you have. What matters is light. It cost $19.99 to buy this little selfie light ring on Amazon, and that is the only thing I ever use to gather those photos. There is no excuse to not capture good photos. Everybody throw this in your cart now. I give you permission to take a slight break from the presentation so you can throw this in your Amazon cart right now. I do encourage you to buy local, but you will not find this thing locally. At least I couldn't. So this is also an excellent time to work on some of your video skills. And both YouTube, if you've always wanted to have a YouTube channel, if you've always wanted to develop better videos that you can boost, even potentially revenue stream your videos, now's the time. Now's the time to be thinking about that. You might not be able to produce them now, but you can certainly get your ideas down. Talk about things that you know about. For me, it's diamonds. Dave Bindra with B&B Gems is the master at this. Dave on Instagram, if you follow him, he's Gemfluencer on Instagram. And Dave does these fantastic videos of colored stones where he coordinates his shoes with the colored stone that he's looking at. So if he's looking at a pink sapphire, he's wearing a pair of pink Chuck Taylors in the background, and in the foreground is this beautiful gem, and it's just he's master at it. So come up with something that's unique to you, like Dave has done. It can also be, it's a great time, obviously, to do personal messages to your community. A great example of that is our friend Jim at Mark's Jewelers in the Philadelphia area, where just a couple days into this, Jim came out with this really heartfelt video to put on his Instagram and Facebook feed. I think he even did it as a pre-roll ad on YouTube, where it just really just this heartfelt message from Jim and Doreen to their clients and friends, and talking about how they're all in this together, and just a really positive message about how we're going to come out of it. We're going to be stronger. Here's something that we do. I don't know why my marketing guy, Josh, who's over here on the right, Josh always takes these screenshots to make us both look like knuckleheads in these things. But what we do is we have a whole series called Carter Cast, where Josh is the novice in this situation, and we just talk about diamonds. We talk about what's important. We talk about, should you buy a diamond on the internet? Should you not buy a diamond on the internet? Should you, what's important when buying a diamond? And it's just casual conversations that Josh and I do. For this, it takes a little bit more. For video, if you're going to do something this dedicated, you do need to invest in some equipment and hopefully have somebody like Josh that knows what they're doing in terms of editing and coming out with it. But we've had some nice traction on this, and really get some good informative content out there to share with our clients. And it's a good time to share info on your personal page with your clients and friends. People are unsure, they're scared. They come to us to celebrate love and happiness, and we have symbols to help them express themselves. But it doesn't need to always necessarily just be about selling them things. For me, I've used these over the last couple of weeks just to inform people about kind of the status of the store. Obviously, I've been doing them in the AGS group too, talking directly to you all. But you can do this on your personal page too. You know, they're your customers, but they're also your friends. And they need not only do they need the distraction, but they also need, they need to hear from other people in their community to know what they're doing. One of the people that I think is really great at this, who I think said was going to be on the call today, is Jenny O from Huntington Jewelers in Las Vegas. Jenny's done this for a long time, just personal videos to her clients about what's important. And she always has awesome headwear. I told her yesterday in her video, she had a fascinating fascinator. But let your personality show through. If you're funny, be funny. If you're emotional, be emotional. But it should be authentic. Again, it should be authentic to you. Facebook is a fine platform to stay connected as well. It's a little bit harder to reach people, and I think it's a good time to build that following on Instagram, because as we said earlier, the following on Facebook is not quite as crucial. But one of the people that I feel like really kind of grabbed the feeling of where we are all right now is our friends Nikki and Sammy at SVS Jewelers in Long Island. I think I made a mention of them the other day in my video. And Nikki, to my knowledge, was the first person to coin this hashtag, love isn't canceled. People have done love is not canceled, love isn't canceled. I think that this perfectly captures everything that our industry is feeling right now, because we're frustrated. We're homebound and can't help our clients and friends celebrate their happy occasions. And this is Nikki's, I pulled this off of their Facebook page because this is their banner on Facebook. Again, you do your own version of this, but make it be authentic to you. So in summary, for my fluff part, stay in contact with your customers. The live chat features on your site. You and your team sending emails and texts, phone calls and check-ins. Nicole Lasker reminded me to remind all of you, have your salespeople, it's probably time to pull off those automatic replies, like we're out of the office and blah, 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 blah. Now's a good time to have that. Just pull those down, pull back those automatic replies and make sure they're checking their things. I think Nicole even said she was going to put a link down there to try to aggressively encourage people to FaceTime and things like that, which I think is a great idea. So thanks for that reminder, Nicole. Larry, if you are unmuted, over to you.
I am.
All right.
So here we are. And Carter, that was not fluff. That was very good. It's what to do while you're away. And we do have some time. We don't know exactly how much. Some of us are hoping a couple of weeks. Some of us, they're throwing numbers out. I think Virginia said June 10th. Any of those can either be extended or brought back. All that does is lead to more uncertainty for all of us. So I have a few things I'd like to go through. Next slide, please.
Sorry, there you go. I was clicking, it wasn't going.
So Carter did a really good job of showing organic content. Well, this is organic, that's my desk, and that's the clean version of my desk.
That's not your desk.
Oh, yes, it is. I cleaned it off because I was going to sell it on Craigslist. And why are we talking about this now? I say welcome to work at home. And this would be one of those trivia questions that most of you don't know me, but if you did, and there's 4 choices in a multiple choice thing, and one of the statements was, Larry has worked from home full time 100 miles away from his store since 2005. Probably most of you would say no. But now I'm just the same as all of you because I sold that desk because we sold that house. But when I first became a home worker, I moved my crazy 10 by 10 C-shaped desk into a 12 by 12 office because I thought I had to replicate my office at the store. Don't try that at home, please. Your kitchen counter is just fine. Your whatever you're going to do at home to work on your business. I know you're going to maybe have to do school projects or who knows what, and it can be a distraction from an experienced work at home person. Your dog will bark at the wrong time. That's okay. You'll get sick of wearing pajamas. That's okay. You know, put on your regular work clothes. Just, you know, change it up. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know for this period of time that you're at home, it will be challenging. In some ways, it'll be kind of fun, but you still have to stick to minding your business, even though you're not at it. And that's a little bit difficult. So this is a Larryism. We've heard this a zillion times as we've flown, okay? But it struck me more recently as something that applies to all of us, all of you. There's a reason they tell you to put on the mask before assisting others. And that's psychologically, you know, if you're sitting next to your child, your instinct is going to be to put the mask on your child. Actually, in the long run, you are going to help that child more, the studies have shown, if you put the mask on yourself first. So I know we are all trying to do all kinds of things right now to help everybody, our employees. I know there's some people on here that may not be business owners. That's awesome because it shows you really care about your place of employment and, you know, you're looking for the future. That's awesome. But, you know, take care of yourself. Don't just think about others all the time because they're actually counting on you. So do the right thing. Take care of yourself first. The other thing we need to all have, no matter what our calendar age is, we all need bifocals. This little image on the internet I found last night is very poignant. We need to look in the distance and the near. The near is we're home for some short period of time. I know every day seems weird. Short doesn't seem like the right word, but distance, believe it or not, we are all going to be reopening our businesses again. If we're a supplier, it's not the physical store, it's going to be our phone lines, and we're going to start trying to line up meetings, all that stuff. We have to flip between the two, and the only way you do that is bifocals. You know, once again, closed but still awesome. I think that talks to all of you on this call. Think of where you were before you were shut down. And if you're not shut down yet, I can tell you from being done for over a week, it feels a little better, believe it or not. It's shutting down is the hardest part because when do we shut down? Is it a choice? Is it an order? And all that work you have to do to shut down. And then the reality of, holy crap, you know, now we're closed. There was a relief for those of us who are shut down that I've talked to once you actually were closed. It sucked. You're still in this weird world, but there's some relief to that. So what are we going to do? Once again, some of this might seem obvious, but on the other hand, it's not obvious because the Titanic knew they had a problem and the band kept playing. And we know that that wasn't the right outcome. So there might be a tendency to say, this is short term, I can ride this out, I'm going to live my life the way I always have. I don't think that's prudent. Carter talked about ways to, you know, expenses you can control and put a pause to, please do so. And where I come in with my, not quite editorial, but your personal spending also. Sometimes, and we hope this happens when we reopen, that people will feel good and buy jewelry and all that stuff. But on the other hand, I think we as business owners would be wise to keep some of that money on the side and only spend personally what we need to, and kind of get in the groove with everybody else. And, you know, if you have discretionary spending, wait, there'll be plenty of time to do that, but keep your cash because you might need it in your business as we reopen and get things going again. The other thing is look for answers outside our industry. We're not the most, you know, Carter's stuff is cutting edge, but our industry as a whole is not that, you know, up on things. So look for answers and opinions outside our industry, but don't get overloaded with what I would call sensational news. That's not what I'm saying to do, but look at sensible things, things that you can trust and believe in and apply. This next one, this would be a little difficult if you don't have a banker and or CPA relationship. And I say relationship because if you can't remember the name of the person, that's not a relationship.
It's not a good start.
I don't know. We know this is important because as we go through the SBA process, which I'm going to say, I don't know anyone on this, I don't know who's on this call in its entirety, but I'm going to say, if there's someone on this call that doesn't think they need to apply, I would be shocked. So your banker and CPA will be key to this. So the CARES Act, last Friday it was passed in a flurry of activity. I think around 4 o'clock Central Time or so, the president signed it, which to me, you know, I'm a little bit of a doubter. I don't believe it until I see it. When I saw on TV live the president signing it with all the people in the background, it's like, okay, all other stuff is done. Congress did their thing. Now it's time. And day one is tomorrow. Today is practice day for the SBA. So they're testing it with various things, but I have great confidence that this thing's going to work. The Treasury Secretary was on the business channels yesterday begging listeners to apply for this if you're a small business, and begging CNBC in particular to keep talking about this, to let business people know, number one, yes, it's okay to do this. We're not used to, I'll say, taking handouts. We're more likely the ones to give the handout to help those in need. Well, now it's us, you know, we are the ones that need the help. And so I'm just telling you, go for it. It's a fairly easy form. I got the official real form last night from my banker with instructions. There's some documentation, but hey, we have time, and please do apply for this. I'm not going to try to do Q&A or be the expert on this loan. That's what you have your CPA and banker for and other resources online. I'm just giving you the encouragement to do this, and it will be good for your business.
Don't be proud. Take the money.
Please do. They want you to, and we need to. So that being said, you apply for your money, and either before you get the funds or not, give or take, you're going to get the signal from your probable local or state government to say it's okay to reopen. And yes, the image of flipping a switch is there, but I'm telling you to not expect that to happen. As the shutdown occurred, I mean, things are moving so fast, but be aware that your business is not going to come back as quick as we would love it to, but be ready for it. You know, get your store ready, get your staff ready, stay in touch with your staff. That's another thing. So we're already at this point. Mr. Analogy, that's me. And this one I couldn't help but put 2.
Larryisms. You have multiples. You have the bifocals.
Yeah.
You have this. You have put your mask on before you help others.
Well, I do that because yes, I'm a finance person and a numbers person, but I always say the numbers just tell a story. And right now the story is we're all unsure, we're afraid, but I always try to do something that we can relate to. Your business is a fruit tree. You can't just pick all the fruit and hope it's going to keep bearing fruit, because that doesn't necessarily happen. You have to nurture the thing. We see the harvest, the basket full of apples. That's what we all look for. That's business coming back. And a tree unnurtured will give you some fruit, but we all know if we give to that fruit tree a little time, a little attention, it will more than pay itself back. The other picture, the very pastoral scene, I don't know if it's Wisconsin or not, but let's just say.
Looks like Wisconsin.
Yeah, we'll say it is. Because those of you who don't know, only 3% of people in Wisconsin make their living off of farms, just so you know.
I don't believe you.
Farmers.
I think it's more.
In this case, yes. Yeah. In this case, we are like a crop farmer. And this one happens to be corn, but it could be cotton. It could be whatever grows near you. Avocados. Wine. Grapes. Could be some of you in Napa. We can do everything right. We can get a crop looking like this. The corn looks like it's ready to be harvested. We did everything right. We planted, we nurtured, we fertilized it, all that stuff. But a storm could come along, you know? And farmers do this every freaking year. We are doing this hopefully once in our lifetime right now, this thing. But the farmers have learned how to embrace things out of their control. And what do? They just come and plant again. And thank goodness for farmers, and thank goodness for all of you who are going to keep doing this. The last one, back. This one's kind of important. It's not the most uplifting part of it. When I say, are you up for the challenge? That's not a cheerleader thing. That's more for some people, and I'm not just saying on this webinar or even in our industry. I think of restaurants actually number one, but are you up for the challenge? This might be an accelerator for you. If you are thinking it might not be much longer that you want to stay in this business, either you want to go transition to something else or retire or whatever, it's going to be a lot of work. Our world will be different. Business will be different. If you don't really honestly feel up to the challenge, you've got some shutdown time now to decide what you want to do next. We are also, as a society, reaching out to people who, you know, might have challenges. I've worked with quite a few jewelers through transitions and whatnot, and turmoil in their either business or personal life. It's something I do on the side, actually. So basically, I'm giving permission to any of you who are thinking this might be time to get out, permission to say it's okay. If this is the catalyst that you say, I think I want to do something else or retire, don't fight it. Then just do that new thing you want to do.
This might be your sign.
It might be the sign that you've been waiting for. So.
Fair. So y'all will see the Q&A thing. I meant to say that in the beginning. There's a little Q&A box where you can type some questions. I see that I have at least one or two in there that I'll go through here in a second. If you have any questions about this, about our various levels of expertise, Larry and I've always said about our friendship, Larry's strengths are my weaknesses, and probably vice versa. So
Yes.
if you have any questions, God knows Larry and I have the time to answer those now. And we'll be happy to. If you'd prefer to do it over email, please feel free to do that. You can reach me at jcarter@jacklewisjewelers.com or larry@jimcreeshack.com. So let me just click up here. Jennifer asked a question early on. Sorry, Jennifer, I didn't answer this right on. But you asked what my thoughts were about Twitter. That's a great question because it didn't talk about Twitter. I personally love Twitter. Twitter is where I start my day every day on Twitter. Not tweeting myself generally, but it's where I follow the news sources that I find to be most trustworthy, and certainly in a time like this is very useful. So I'll go into my timeline, and I will scroll through the news that way. I find it difficult as a tool to sell jewelry and jewelry store services. We have a Twitter page. Jack Lewis JLRS is our Twitter page. We aren't as active on there as we are on Instagram because, again, Instagram was almost invented with jewelry in mind, because it's meant to show beautiful things that people aspire to own. And what symbolizes that more than jewelry and gemstones? So I think it's harder. Twitter can be your place to promote your video content for sure. If you're promoting the fact that you're an expert in certain fields, Twitter is for sure the content to go to. But it's less pictorial and more content driven in terms of actual knowledge and things like that, if that makes any sense. Philip asked, what are you asking your team to do as they sit home? Thank you, Jennifer. Yep, you're welcome. What are you asking your team to do as they sit home? Larry, I'll let you field this. Why don't you go ahead and do this one, and then I'll chime in if I have anything additional to say.
That's a great question. I also see there was a follow-up question which had some suggestions. Are you taking classes, calling, emailing, texting clients?
Yeah.
Investing time in customer relations management. I mean, yes, all of the above are good. I personally, and John Carter, we both decided to pursue education. So thank you, AGS. Those
Yes.
of our AGS members, which is probably almost everybody on this call, we know that there is coursework that can be done at no charge. It's the Certified Sales Associate course. It's a really good course. It's a great brush up for those of you who have been through a lot of education. It's still an amazing course. I've been very open to do this. I mean, I've wanted people to do this all the time. We are also, we've been shut down long enough ago that we've actually had a payroll, and that's kind of a longer story, but you know, there's a certain element of people, they want to be active. And I think they'll want to improve themselves for when we're back to work. And they also, I think, appreciate their employer taking an interest. So all that stuff is good. And clients, one at a time, I think is really amazing. Carter touched on that for the suppliers who might be on. You know, a personal, if you have a personal relationship with your client, there is great value to staying in touch. I mean, you don't have to get, you know, too involved and worry about the right thing to say, just, you know, something simple. The other thing we did for my store, we have, I believe, 17 employees, and I think that's a nice size for this. Certainly if you have more, it would be better, and I think less, it would still work. It's an environment called Slack, S-L-A-C-K.
Yeah.
A lot of corporations use this for work groups, and a lot of those work groups were working from home or distant offices or whatever. You can customize it however you wish. It's free. And so we have all kinds of communication channels because I want to make sure we are staying in touch with our staff.
Larry, are you using Slack for your Jim Kreshak team? Because I had
Yes.
considered that for my Jack Lewis team. We've not used it. You and I use it in other capacities. Slack is a really good, if anybody's looking to do that, that's a really great suggestion and a good way for the team to stay connected. My answer to Philip is 100%. My staff has been encouraged / required to take these AGS courses, and depending upon where they are in their learning process, some GIA courses as well. GIA has some fantastic content, of course, as well, and some of which they're offering for free as well at this time. So everybody should check that out. De Beers came out with a thing a couple days ago for Forevermark retailers. So make sure to reach out to them. I started that yesterday myself. It's really good. So people on my team and Larry's team are listening. I hope you guys are making great progress on your accreditation, because as we said before we left, Philip, we were going to use this as a chance to get better as a store, not an excuse to go backwards. And I think that that's the mindset that everybody needs to come out of this thing with. Phil just said, gee, I just offered continuing education for GGs. Yep, I just signed up for that yesterday myself, Philip. I don't remember the name of that. If you could chime in, I'll repeat it. Jennifer says that Gem World uses Slack every day. Again, it's a great tool. Somebody asked, is Slack like, Yeah. A Podium offers a very similar service, David, to Slack, where you can you can communicate with your team. There's a tab in Podium that's everyone, and that's everybody in your team. The difference is though, and I'm not sure how to turn this off or on. You can probably toggle permissions. It's not everybody on my team has Podium access, because not everybody's experienced enough to access or to answer customer questions as they come through the Podium chat, if that makes any sense. So there are some different tools. I think Client Book also has something very similar as well. So there's some really good tools out there available. And of course, you want to do the same thing that we advised earlier. Your sales staff should be doing this. It's a great time, as you point out, Philip, to do some customer clienteling. And that's not necessarily just saying, hey, your anniversary is next Tuesday. What can I ship you? It's just checking in and being a friend. I thought about this today before the call. We're posting these videos in the AGS page. And if you're not on that page, please request to join. It's the closed group for American Gem Society members. It truly is one of my favorite things that has come out of this COVID crisis is the community and the camaraderie of this group. And it has reinforced it like never before for me. And as you all know, I mean, I think I probably live and breathe this stuff. This is a very important group to me. But this has made me appreciate it more. And what I've started to think about over the last day, 2 days, is I'm really done waking up and thinking about the things that I'm angry or frustrated about. And now I'm going to wake up and celebrate the things that I'm thankful for. Somebody from AGS, I was emailing Chris in the lab yesterday, and she said, how are you doing? I said, oh, I'm bored. And she put things into perspective for me, because she said, Larry, I thought this was very profound. She said, never again in your life will you have the opportunity to be this bored.
True.
Right? I mean, like, just for, just a little quick sentence that she typed back to me kind of put the whole thing in perspective.
Yeah,
never in your life will you have the opportunity to be this bored. I am going to frame that.
Yeah, and it's a sense of purpose that I think, as this goes through the country, I mean, literally, personally, you're going to have a different feel as you work through this, but so is the country. You're going to learn of some places in the country that are, going to be approaching rock bottom, and you're going to see other places that are coming out on the other side. And I think we all have to keep that vision of it's an invisible enemy. We don't know where it is, but what we do know is we are going to get over the hump on this thing, and not let's not worry too much about worst case scenarios. And by the same token, let's not just say it's all going to be rainbows and unicorns either. I think we do ourselves and the people around us a big favor if we find something in the middle, some comforting area for you personally that you're going to get through this, and community and your family, your friends, your clients. I think we're going to have a little more appreciation for that, and hopefully a little less snarkiness and stuff like that. I mean, we are all in this together. It's a true statement.
Yeah, and it's get better. Get better at what you do. We all can get better. And when are you going to have the time to get better? I've never in my life been on, and I'm sure you're all the same way, because my whole day, it consists of Zoom calls, webinars, house party meetings, video chats, things like that. And, I find myself, I know that I'll be using these tools more and more. And I've kind of reemerged as what the value of these are, rather as a distraction I didn't have time for. I think it's going to be a good way for us to stay connected. Harold chimed in. Thank you, Harold, for that. The GIA program is called Continuing Education, and they recently made it free. And that's the continuing education for GGs. That has been a particularly cumbersome thing for people to say, okay, if we want people to be doing accreditation on the side, what can they be doing if they've already achieved their GG? That's a $250 program that GIA has graciously made free. So not only has AGS made content free, but GIA has as well. Again, it's one of the things I love about this industry, particularly AGS and GIA, for everything that they're doing for our members in this time of need to help us emerge from this as better places to do business. That's ultimately what we're saying today. That is the theme of this webinar. On behalf of Larry and your AGS board of directors, I want to thank you all for everything that you do for us, for everything, for all the support that you've shown each other. Please be in that AGS group. Post videos. If you're not a video person, you want to post pictures. You want to post things you're thankful for. Be active in there, people. We need each other now more than ever. You know, Robert Shipley founded the American Gem Society and the GIA because he wanted us to be better at what we do so we can be better for the consumer. And if there's ever been a time in our history that we've had the time to do these things, it is now. And I don't want you all to look back in 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully, you know, it could be, who knows, like Larry said, could be 6, but I don't want to look back on it and think we just sat around and watched Tiger King. You know, that's a good way to take your mind off some of the seriousness about what we have, but do some of these things, these tough tasks, while you have the time to do them. And thank you, AGS. Thank you, everybody, for being on this call today. A really big thank you to Larry, because he took a break out of tackling some of these things for you know, his clients and his own business and things like that. So thanks, Larry, for being here and being my cohort on this webinar. Anybody have any questions?
We were together on 9/11.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
So we've been through some things.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, well, little known fact, I was at Larry's store, huddled in his conference room, training his team when we found out that the towers had fallen. So Larry is my go-to crisis buddy and obviously a very, very dear friend. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you to AGS too. I mean,
yes,
the staff at AGS is great all the time, and I think that's one thing we're seeing is if you did the right things before, you'll do the right things once we're out of this. And the AGS team is amazing.
They, as we've said multiple times, but not necessarily this public, Catherine and her team have been in their element dealing with this crisis, really leading from a position of strength. You know, and not everybody had that foresight or the ability to tackle that. So big praise to Catherine and the team for everything that they've done and for helping keep us sane. And so again, everybody, if you need us, those are our email addresses. Write those down, screenshot that, send us notes, keep us entertained on the group, and love you all. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, everybody.